Okay, let's start this meeting. Uh, Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our program. We've got a number of new friends, persons coming for the first time to our program. And Conversations is the regular program that we've been conducting for the last 5 years. Um, Started by one of our members, Mr. Chandran, who's here, and his wife, Gauri. Uh, we are back after a short break, and we promise you many more programs, different on different topics, of varied interest in different formats. Uh, this one is the first time that we are having a discussion on social entrepreneurship. We often talk about business entrepreneurship, but social entrepreneurship as a concept is something which I have been very much interested in. And there are quite a few persons in this group who are very much interested, who have been involved in this. And therefore, there are special invitees for this program. I have the opportunity to welcome Lakshmi Menon. Welcome, Lakshmi, to Athasri.
Thank
I and all of us have been looking forward to this session. Uh, we have several special invitees. Uh, I can't mention the names of everyone, but I would like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Sarla Gopalan. I hope she's been able to unmute herself, who,
Uh,
who was actually a pioneer as the district collector in Trivandrum years ago, who helped develop the women's Mahila Mandal, which is a forerunner to Kudumbashri in Kerala. So she's with us. She has joined us. I have Mr. Madhav Mohan, who is no stranger to us, who's come as a speaker earlier, and who is, to the best of my knowledge, one of the very early social entrepreneurs in Kerala before the term social entrepreneurship had become uh, popular or fashionable. And he was the person who had brought information technology to the classroom, school classes. So we have Madhav, we have Gaurang Mehta. Gaurang is a very creative artist, is basically a filmmaker and management educator and a communicator. So Gaurang, I'm very happy to have Gaurang here with us. So Mr. Suresh Jasani, who has instituted the Jasani Center in the name of his family, Jasani Center for Social Entrepreneurship in the uh, Nasi Monti Institute of Management. And I had the privilege of working with him in setting it up. We have my old friend B. Banerjee. We have a group of students from IIT Bhilai, whom I have specially invited, who are entrepreneurs in the making, and who was very excited when I told him that you were coming to speak to us. And also um, Tulsi Tawari, who is the leader in the sense that he started, encouraged them as a member of the board of IIT Bhilai. And I was expecting Father Matthew. I don't see him here. Uh, so, and then of course you have all the hosts, all the grandmoms and grandpas of Artistry with you, who are the hosts, all of us. So welcome once again. May I request Rama to formally introduce Lakshmi? Rama, hold yours.
hi, Lakshmi. I shouldn't be saying hi, Lakshmi, and as if I'm an old friend, but I feel as if you're so close to all of us. Um, 2018 saw mega floods destroy Kerala. Huge bales of saris were totally soaked and ruined in the flood waters. Chekutti dolls came into being and revived the handloom industry in Kerala. Next. Can you imagine your pen growing into a tree? A plantable pen? Well, there are more than a million plants growing in Kerala.
We can't hear you.
I think there's some bandwidth issues from that flat.
do we do?
Maybe we should just move forward.
Okay. Are you back, Prema?
Washed and
No.
reused too.
Okay.
What a huge saving in terms of money, and even more importantly, saving the environment. This initiative has caught the eye of the world and is also in display at the National Museum, Scotland. Quilt India Samman consists of converting unsold fabric into mommy kits for newborns in war-hit zones. A social entrepreneur? Who's that? Is one who has taken the initiative to create
I think shall I fill the gap?
Cochin. She roped
Okay.
in women living in old age homes across the state, and they are the backbone of the Amamutiri Wicks for lamps. What a beautiful idea. Orange Alert is another project of hers. Volunteers paint orange triangles on either side of a damaged part of a bad road. I think, Lakshmi, we should call you for not only Kerala, you should come over for the rest of the roads also. You're a great volunteer.
Right. Uh, shall I take over?
You recognized her as the top 10 women entrepreneurs. I mean, I'm hats off to her. Lakshmi Menon is a governing council member of the National Innovation Council of India. We are honored, Lakshmi, that you are amongst us today, and we thank you so much for accepting our invite. Over to you, Lakshmi. Thank you once again.
Perhaps we could start off, Lakshmi, with a short account from you on how you, when you came back from the States after spending 12 years in San Francisco and designing there, how did you find the ecosystem, the environment in Kerala, and how did you relate yourself to the new realities of Kerala? And how did you hit upon some of these ideas?
Sir, thank you so much for inviting me over, first of all. And once again, please forgive me for being late. I think, once I returned from US, it was for me, I'd been going back and forth. And I think I was trying to balance the best of both worlds. In a way, I was trying whatever good that I've seen in US, which could be adapted to Kerala. I was trying to do that in my limited capacity in many ways. But it has to be kind of, in that can be suitable for our conditions, right? So initially, actually, if you look at my background, I am a fashion jewelry and interior designer, and I'm a totally accidental entrepreneur. Actually, I never realized I had become one until the media started quoting me in their entrepreneurial sections. Actually, what I had been trying to do was finding some solutions for a very pressing problems in the society. So it started with starting with that innovative pen, the paper pen. That this is a paper pen, and this you have the tiny little seed on the rear tip. So if you plant it like this, it will push the pen away, and the sapling will emerge out of it. That is how it works. So being from Kerala, one of the most literate state, I knew that pretty much everybody uses a pen. So even if it's a very small product, I thought, why don't I just start with something? I don't have the a celebrity status or something with which would really help me to do something really huge. So in my limited capacity as a very normal citizen, ordinary citizen, I thought, okay, let me take the first step. That is how I started with the pen, because I always feel that, if you're not part of the solution, then by default, you're part of the problem. And the success of this really helped me realize that, if you cannot do great things, you still can do small things in a great way. And that was another, that really gave me the confidence to move on to my next projects. That is how the Amumatiri, the Wisdom project came into being. So in that we have like 30 of these wicks, which is used for the oil lamps. That was a very kind of a very epiphany moment when I saw my grandma making it. So I think, sir, since I did my studies and everything in Kerala itself, I knew like what are the things that we are lacking. And I realized it even more since I was staying in US for a while. I could really understand, where are the fixes that has to be done. And since many of the problems that we see is purely because of a certain habits, that can be changed by the citizens, will bring in a lot of a sea change in many of the problems that we face. So I'm trying to create a little bit, put in my effort by providing certain services or products through which they can bring in a difference.
Okay, so the first product was the pen.
Yes.
And Amamadri was the second.
Yeah, actually, yes, because I stayed with my grandma. So
it's called Ammuma Thiri.
Ammuma Thiri. Yeah, Thiri
Thiri.
in Malayalam means wicks, and Ammuma is my grandma.
I mean, grandma. In fact, Ammuma Thiri became very popular, not only in Kerala, but other parts of the country. Is that the one for which Vanita, recognized your contribution?
No, that was actually for a series of projects. Till the last one, the Shaya project that I did for the COVID patients. Yes. So that was almost a recent one.
I'll come to that. That's one of the projects that I'd like to talk about.
Amumatiri got featured in BBC by none other than Amitabh Bachchan.
I'd like to show that video.
Okay.
Amumatiri video.
Okay.
It's a very short video, but very interesting.
Mr. Raja, I'm in the process. I just need to figure something out. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry for the delay.
No, that's good.
दिन के उजाले में बदल सकते हैं। इन दियों की बाती में ढेर सारा प्यार है जो कभी खत्म नहीं होता, ढेर सारी दुआएं हैं जो कभी खाली नहीं जाती, और दिल से निकला ढेर सारा आशीर्वाद है जो कभी कम नहीं होता, क्योंकि ये है अम्मुमा तिरी, यानी दादी माँ की बातें। देखिए,
हर दिए की लौ में उज्जवल होती हैं हजारों उम्मीदें, लाखों ख्वाहिशें और ना जाने कितनी ही दुआएं। कभी पर्व में तो कभी गर्व में, हर दिया कहता है कहानी उसे रोशन करने वाले की। पर ये कहानी है इन दियों में निरंतर जल रही इन बातियों की, जिन्होंने केरला में ढेरों वृद्ध महिलाओं के जीवन में नई रोशनी दी।
मेरा नाम सरस्वती है। मैं 70 साल की हूँ और मैं सरकारी वृद्ध आश्रम में रहती हूँ।
एक पहल जिसने इनकी जिंदगियां बदल दी। तेरे हाथों
हम 10 लोग ये काम करते हैं। साथ में बातचीत और हंसी मजाक भी होता है। इससे वक्त आसानी से कट जाता है।
किसने सोचा था एक मामूली सी बाती बनाने में वृद्ध महिलाओं को वो अनमोल खुशियां मिलेंगी, सहारा मिलेगा जिसकी इन्होंने कल्पना भी नहीं की हो।
लक्ष्मी मैडम हमें धागा देती है, जिनसे हम ये बातियां बनाते हैं। ये काम मुझे बचपन।
Oh, is that all? Yeah. Oh, okay. How does this work? How does this model work? And is it still, it is still alive?
Yes, very much, sir. So what we do is we give them the yarns. It comes in like with long strands, the cotton yarn from the handloom weavers society. In most of the places, they might have a few bunches where the count is different, where the thickness is different than what they require for that particular weaver society. So they are easy to, they easily kind of ready to sell it. So we buy that in bulk and give those strands to the women in old age homes. So all they have to do is they just have to cut it in size, and maybe like, I don't think I'll have to like demonstrate. It's pretty much, everybody knows it, like how to make it. So there was no training required, there was no tool required. I think all you need is a pair of scissors in the whole one home, right? So they were saying, in fact, one of the grandma was saying that, she was bedridden, and they had put a screen to just keep her I mean, kind of, hidden from the, from her, I mean, from the rest of the people. And she said nowadays people have started coming to her bed, and she was saying that the reason being she has a pair of sharp scissors. So she said, I have the best scissors in this whole old age home. So the other team members have started coming to her to get it in, to cut it in size. So she said, you have no idea how this craft has made my life. I mean, this project has made my life different. Now I have more friends. They come and sit on my bed. They chit chat with me. So these were the kind of, takeaways I was getting from this project. And if many were saying that their grandchildren are now coming and visiting them, because they are now in a position to offer what is that pocket money to the grandchildren. They earn even like 200 rupees per day. So they have like all the relatives coming and inviting them for weddings and things like that, because they are in a position to even gift them. So this is running very well. We are doing it in a couple of old age homes, and this model is such an easily replicable, scalable model, right? In a country like India, where 80% of the people use, light up diya, there is no dearth of demand for this. And it is not something that will get stale or anything. And even if it's slightly shorter or longer, it's not going to matter. So I was told that even the cotton farmers in Nagpur, the women in that village had started doing this after they saw the BBC program by Mr. Bigby. And there is no need for any transfer of knowledge or skill or anything of that sort. Just had to give an idea that, have a different, this already has a beautiful story. So I said, you always present it in a manner that is different from the bulk made, the power loom made, what's that, the yarn that comes into the market. Have a different tagline for that, and that makes the whole thing different.
Yes.
Unique.
Yeah. Actually, this has got several messages to which we will come a little later. Low cost innovation.
Yeah, one of the unseen effects of this was that, it even has an acupressure effect on the finger. So if you do it, it will remove the numbness of the fingers, because it has a better, it brings in better blood circulation.
And it gives income, and it gives us not merely a sense of well-being, but also self-esteem. Really improves
Along with the
self-esteem.
dignity, the financial independence, it's also having some health benefits as well. Those were the things that I had never even thought of when I started this.
Right. I would like, since we are short of time, I'd like to go on to the project that we want to talk about. That is the Shaya project, which is so current, so recent, and so much of a creative, constructive response to this pandemic. So I'd like to show a video on that. And what I would like to do is to have a panel of 3 persons who will talk about it with you, interact with you for about 20 minutes, and then we'll take questions from the other friends of ours who are here. Okay. Shall we go on to the Shaya video?
Yes, yes.
The video itself talks a lot about the product. So,
right.
A few months ago, while I was traveling to Bangalore, I saw a family who was living under the bridge. And also a baby who was sleeping on the sand with no clothes to wear and nothing to lie on. When I saw that sight, I felt so bad for that baby, and I was wondering what I can do about it, in my own limited capacity. As a designer, I always feel that this is my social responsibility to have a new perspective to such problems that we encounter daily and find a neat solution to such messy problems. During the pandemic, as we all know, there are so many issues cropping up every day. So just like that baby without the mattress to lie on, even the FLTCs, the first line treatment centers for COVID care centers, they were finding a shortage for the mattresses. In other states and even in other countries, the hospitals are turning away the patients just because they didn't have enough supply of beds to accommodate them. Each COVID care center should have a minimum of 50 beds. The minimum cost of the mattresses per piece comes around 700 rupees, and as per the government protocol, they have to burn the mattresses once the patient leaves. So if you look at it, there are around 1,000 panchayats in Kerala alone. So that is around 50,000 mattresses. So if we take a rough estimate, we are burning crores of money every week on mattresses alone. And this is not the only eco-menace that is created due to COVID. I'm aware of the amount of tailoring scrap that is being created. The tailors are making only the PP gowns, and there is so much of scrap cloth that is being thrown away. I simply hate the word waste. I think there is nothing called waste. It's only the way you look at it. My grandma always says, nature doesn't know waste. So I try to incorporate upcycling in all my art and innovation projects. And in this case, dots almost connected on their own. I realized I can make mattresses out of these PP scraps. I named it Shaya, the word in Sanskrit for mattress. The technique is so simple that if you know how to braid your hair, you can pretty much make a Shaya. Even the tiniest piece can be integrated into that plait. You don't even need a needle, machine or thread to make a Shaya. It is still sturdy, strong and soft. And the best part about Shaya is that, since it has a plastic coating on it, it can be washed in regular soap solution, dried, and it could be reused again. Not only does it solve the logistical and ecological challenges, it actually creates jobs and boosts the local economy. And in my unit alone, we have hired around 20 women.
എൻ്റെ മോൾക്ക് ഒത്തിരി മുടിയുണ്ട്, അതെനിക്ക് പിന്നെ ഭയങ്കര ഇഷ്ടമാണ്. ഇത്രയും ചെറിയൊരു കാര്യം ഇത്രയും പേർക്ക് സഹായമാവുമെന്ന് എനിക്ക് ചിന്തിക്കാൻ പോലും പറ്റുന്നില്ല.
എനിക്ക് നല്ലൊരു വരുമാനം കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ട് ഇവിടുന്ന്. അത് കാരണം കൊണ്ട് എനിക്ക് വീട്ടിലെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ നന്നായിട്ട് നോക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്നുണ്ട്.
And each Shaya is sold at rupees 300, which is the labor charge for the women who make it. And you won't believe, every day we are getting hundreds of orders for Shaya. And so far we have donated around 700 Shayas to the old age homes, to the FLTCs and homeless people. Now that this has been recognized by the United Nations in their list of best practices, I hope that this can be replicated in any part of the world during any kind of crisis. It was my grandma who instilled the love of creative upcycling in me, to find new value in all things. After all, solving problems is a human thing.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much. And this can also be used even by all of us for ordinary use.
Yes, sir. I mean, this could be a temporary bedding solution, actually.
Okay.
I'm not very sure if, for several discomforts, how does it work? But my mom finds it very good for her back pain. She puts it. She likes that.
Does it have to be replaced or destroyed after use for let's say a few days or couple of months?
Not really, because this has a plastic lining in it that makes it very sturdy, and that was the main reason why these tailoring units were not able to dispose it off. Usually, if it's a fabric, they would just burn it off, but they were not able to do that because it's very sturdy and doesn't get burned also easily. and the ecological issues.
Yes.
So that is what make it, even more versatile.
Wonderful. I am now going to.
Yeah, I just wanted to show, this is a guy.
Okay. Yeah. These are actually based from the personal protection kits, is it?
The tailoring centers, when they cut the neck and the sleeve and the areas, there's a lot of waste that is being generated, the fresh ones, the untouched ones. So there is no need for sanitizing. It's not even touched by anybody. In 3 months' time, we used around 9,000 kilos of this PP alone, converting it into Shaya.
I'll take questions straight away along with this. Can we do this with saris that we are not using? Here is a question.
Yes, absolutely. That is how I started. I'm sure that many of viewers here, they must have even made the tiny floor mat or the tiny piece for the table and things like that. I'm using the same old technique, grandma's technique, but made it in a larger dimension. And slightly difference is that, it was made to 6 feet by 2.5. I've always seen it only in a cylindrical, in a circular manner, but I've given it into a rectangular design. And in the other one, there will be the stitching. So any fabric, including your undergarments, if it's properly washed, can be used in this.
Wonderful. So we have had two social innovations right now shown visually, very current, coming up before our eyes. What I would like to do is to bring in at this stage Mr. Gaurang Mehta, Mr. Madhav Mohan, and Dr. Sarla Gopalan.
I'm unmuting them. I'm asking the three of them to please unmute themselves.
And we can show all the three here. Spotlight them.
Are you seeing Ms. Sarla Gopalan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's here.
I'm not seeing her. Can you request her to unmute if you see her? Oh, I see her. Yes.
Yeah, she's here.
Yeah. I've requested three of them to please unmute yourselves.
Okay.
I think I'm unmuted.
Yes.
Yeah. Other.
Yes, I'm unmuted.
Yeah. So, Bharat, can we bring all the three here so that we can see them?
Oh, right. I will in a. I will.
The spotlight.
That's right.
Right. Now, I am going to mute myself. Over to them.
May I please, maybe I'll say it verbally, Ms. Gopalan, Sarla Gopalan, I've asked you, sent a request to you to unmute, please. There you are. And if you could turn on your video, that would be great. Otherwise, we respect it. You're back to being muted.
And I can remove myself from the spotlight.
Yeah. Okay, I can remove you. That's fine. I think.
Yeah. Welcome, Dr. Gopal.
She's back to being muted. Something has gone wrong. Okay.
Sorry.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah,
good. We can hear you. Let's start off. Yes. Over to you, Gaurang.
Yeah, actually, I was really fascinated watching this because for very different reason, like I saw in this the inherent genius of Indian society, and particularly when I heard about the mat and that wig, and I would like to ask Lakshmiji whether such idea ever crossed your mind, because my mind went back to our independence struggle days, and when I thought of the whole innovation of the charkha, and something which was like an appropriate technology kind of a innovation. Now the question is that here is a brilliant idea and which has got tremendous potential, when I thought about it, I thought about how Gandhi related this kind of an innovation. It was not innovation in the sense that charkha existed. I mean, in our life, right?
Yes.
But he contextualized it by giving that slogan कि आजादी जरूर लेंगे चरखा चला चला के, and if I thought that if we can kind of really institutionalize this whole concept, not necessarily this concept, but this kind of innovative ideas, and contextualize it in some kind of a larger mission, don't you think it would become much more exciting to really market?
Uh, yes, sir. Thank you for the kind words. Actually, we are giving online training to people in 6 to 7 countries now. This was featured in World Economic Forum in the Davos agenda this year. So that has really made it, viral and spread far and wide. And anywhere in the world, wherever there are people, you need mattresses, because a good night's sleep is anybody's birthright. And wherever there are humans, there are clothes also available, right? The used ones. So they don't even have to ship the raw material from one end to the other. They can just use their old clothing. And this is the best way to upcycle without any guilt. Like, if you have to part away with your old sari, cushion, or, bedspread or whatever, this is the best way to kind of upcycle it, because it's going to provide a bedding for somebody who is deprived of it.
Oh yes, I can see it.
So this has become an international thing now, especially since the UN had listed in their best practices. We had been giving them the process details and videos, and they had been doing it through their UNDP programs.
Very interesting.
And especially, like I said, if you can braid your hair, you can make it. There's no need for any machine or thread or anything. You just have to tie it together.
That is the most fascinating part of it.
Yeah, and whatever I do, I kind of try to develop an SOP, a standard operating procedure, so that it is very much, standardized, and anybody, whoever makes it, will have the perfect same standards, like quality. So I use a 6 feet by 2.5 feet wide plywood, and I put nails on the either side of that 6 feet with a gap of 2 centimeters, and that 2 centimeters is the width of this braid. So it can easily be woven between those nails. So anybody who makes it, it will look like a machine made one. It will have the perfect, if it's slightly wider, it will not get through it. And if it's very thin, it will just be very loose. So they can, by making like third of, yeah, absolutely. So that really helps for them to make
wonderful. Madhav.
I'll defer to Dr. Sarla Gopalan, who's just raised her hand. I'll come in after she speaks.
Okay. Dr. Sarla Gopalan, I just
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes. Please come in.
Okay. Yeah. Congratulations, Lakshmi. I think you've done a very great job. God give you a lot of strength and energy to innovate more things, both for the benefit of the people and to make others who need something to earn a little money get their jobs and technologies. What I find in this great work Lakshmi has done is that SOP, standard operations, so that the product can be made anywhere, and it can be standardized, and it can be used properly. Now, in this braided bed, where does the plastic come in? You're talking about the...
Yeah, ma'am, the PP material itself, that material itself has a plastic coating in it. That is why it is suitable for the PP, so that when the doctors or nurses wear it, any liquid is there and it just slides away. So even for that blue mask that we wear, it has that plastic lining. So that makes it very difficult for ordinary, tailoring centers or units to, discard it. They cannot burn it like they normally do with the fabric. Every evening they will have a pile of clothes. They will just burn it and make space for the next day. That is how they used to do. But with this, they were not able. So they were like heaps of these accumulated in all these tailoring centers. So for them also, they said it is such a blessing that, we can get rid of it, and we feel good that this is being converted into something of such a purpose.
Okay, so in ordinary homes, if they can use their own old clothes. Now, I've
Yes.
seen in Delhi and
Yes.
even Bhopal and other places where they use number of layers of saris, used saris,
Yes.
and make a sheet, to cover, a covering sheet.
They make layers.
Yes,
Yes.
say 5, 6
Yes.
saris together. It gives a lot of warmth because there are so many layers, and the air between the layers gives a lot of warmth.
Yes.
I've seen that's being done in Delhi also. It's a great commercial activity. Now, in homes, also there are a lot of waste material, old ones, but of course there will be no plastic in that. So maybe for their own use, I know I've seen people, even now in Kerala, a lot of people sleep on tarapai and other things. But found that my maid in Coimbatore, she's from Kerala. So she was saying, the floor is so cold and the therapy is not enough. They need something more to put on the floor so that they can get warm. So if they want to do like this for their own homes, this is especially for hospitals and sanitized conditions. But what about making household usable articles?
This
People
can
make
be used, can't it?
Yes, absolutely, ma'am. This is because I gave it to hospitals because that is where there was a demand during Kerala. Because in Kerala, we don't have much of a homelessness, right? So I started this project during last March, like they show in the video, when I saw a baby who was lying on the floor on the street. So this was initially intended for the homeless people, but then by the end of July, when the COVID cases started spiking in Kerala, being a consumer state, we were not able to kind of source the mattresses from the other states due to the lockdown and travel restrictions. So that is when I thought, like, why don't I reintroduce this idea? And again, went to the tailoring shops from where I was procuring this material. They said, we are all run out of business, so we have all transformed to stitching the PP and masks. That's the only thing that we stitch now. So this is the only scrap that is available. So I was trying it out for the first time, and I found that this is the perfect material that I can think of, because since it has plastic, it can be washed also. So this can be used for homes, and we had given around 300 to 400 to the tribal community in Wayanad. And this is slightly thicker than the tarapaya, so it is much more, have a more of that cushion effect to it. And anybody, like, in shaya.in, we have given the demo video also. So anybody who wish to make one, they can always visit. And if it's a little bit of, crafty, they can definitely understand the process. It's very simple.
Okay. It's very good. Excellent. God bless you and give you a lot of other innovative ideas to help people live more comfortably and better.
Over to Madhav.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Raja. With your permission, I will take a couple of minutes. Lakshmi is, of course, the kind of role model that India desperately needs today. We are tired of ideology-based demagogues and politicians and people of their ilk. And Lakshmi, therefore, is the ideal role model that India needs at this moment in time. So, Lakshmi, let me give you my unreserved appreciation and admiration for the fabulous work that you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
Having said that, I think Lakshmi's contributions are much more substantive than these projects that she has launched. Of course, Ammumatiri is fantastic. Of course, Shaya is something that will go a long way in establishing environmental consciousness and balance in India. And of course, Chekoti has given not just a ray of hope, but a whole way of thinking about adversity. But her contribution, I think, goes much deeper than that. Why do I say that? I say that because of the following 2 or 3 points. Firstly, I think Lakshmi has brought one aspect of our heritage front and center that we have never really acknowledged. We always talk about India being very proud of its spiritual heritage. We've always talked about our spiritual heritage. But Lakshmi has now shown us that it's not just the spiritual heritage that has been part of India's evolution. It's this heritage of adaptation and innovation. And Lakshmi is just the latest avatar of those master craftsmen and innovators who created muslin so fine that could be, compressed into a matchbox, or the producers and innovators of Damascus steel, and so on and so forth. So this heritage of innovation and adaptation that runs in our DNA has been brought front and center by Lakshmi, firstly. Secondly, what she has done is the democratization of entrepreneurship. You don't need to be a high net worth individual with networks and connections to get bank loans and orders. You can be working at the grassroots and addressing real needs of people, and those needs arise out of adversity. She has shown that necessity is not just the mother of invention; adversity is the mother of invention, and she has proven that to us by democratizing entrepreneurship. And thirdly, her model shows that ideology based redistributive economics is not effective. Her model of redistributive economics is far more effective. She's able to create income flows for people who had no hopes of earning income. And that is far more than any ideology can produce, communism or otherwise. So having said all that, I think Lakshmi needs to be recognized more than just a person with innovative project ideas. I think she's one of those people who can make fundamental changes in our society based on all these things that I talked about. But here's a radical idea I'd like to throw at Lakshmi. I've always believed that very highly developed problem solving and logical thinking resides in the so-called underprivileged and the poorest of the poor people. Very simple. If the poor people are surviving, it has to be because of their very highly developed problem solving skills. Therefore, I think they are highly placed to be part of India's IT revolution, the second IT revolution that I envisage because of this COVID. So can we democratize IT, software, knowledge amongst the poorest of the poor? Can we create coding factories amongst the people that you deal with, Lakshmi, where we teach them simple modules of coding? And software globally is all modular coding assembled together to produce a massive system. You need millions and millions of code. You take ISRO, for example. ISRO is working on its project Mars or the lunar lander. They need millions and millions and millions of code. All this code can be parceled out, outsourced in small modules. And I am 100% sure that our people sitting in villages can write very simple, short lines of code because they're so logical and they have such wonderful problem solving abilities. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think Zoho is one of the organizations that does that. Mr. Sridhar Vembu of Zoho, I really look up to him, and I think that's the first destination I would love to travel to once this lockdown everything is lifted, because we are staying in a rural area and we have lots of land. So I was just wanted to request to him whether he can open one of his centers in my village, so that I can do the same magic what he's doing with the villagers in near Chennai. So I'm kind of not at all tech savvy. I'm always tell myself that I'm a technologically challenged person. So I don't know the nitty-gritties of that, but I feel that I've seen what he's doing and I've been following. So maybe a model, similar model, if that can be, emulated here. I'm very much ready to offer the land or whatever that he needs. So that is exactly what is there in the pipeline.
No, the reason I mentioned that is I have seen in some of the work that I've done, people who never could even spell a computer, could not speak English, living in rural areas, who come to us. We've trained them, and one of them is now one of the top experts in Java in the world. He's written 6 books on Java. He's one of Oracle's topmost tech specialists. And he's a person who had no background at all, couldn't speak English,
Yes.
rural education, kind of no privileges, nothing. So this can be replicated.
Yes. Just an opportunity is all that they need, isn't it, sir?
Yeah, that's all they need.
Yeah.
Mr. Raja, I would like to build on
Yeah,
what
please.
Bharatji is saying.
Yes.
Actually, just of course, it's a very, very unusual, very innovative idea about coding going to mass kind of scale. When I was hearing this, I thought of China, which is being touted as the factory of the world. And if you look at the kind of the kind of products which come to us from there, and there may be even small idols and our deities and all kinds
Ganesh
of
idols.
things which they send to us. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that can we also try to kind of develop our own model where we can put a scale, of a enormous size by which we just kind of harness and harmonize the kind of innovative skills which lie, as I agree with you, Bharat Bhai, that it is there innate, and there is a very beautiful word in our language. We call it jugad. That jugad is to be seen. Pardon me.
Put an SOP for the Jugaad.
Yeah. So if you can do that, because this is an excellent example of Jugaad. What? So I think if we can really that's the. I will again go back to my first point, that how do you really institutionalize this process? Not the process of this particular product, but the entire idea and thinking which went behind it, and which actually combine an innovative idea. And all great innovative ideas are basically simple. They are not complicated. So how was that married to the day-to-day skills of people? And that's what Lakshmi ji has created. So I think there is a tremendous potential which I see in this particular phenomenon. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, Dr. Mashelka, when he had addressed us, he did talk about low-cost innovation, which was a very special feature of India, of many of the innovations that are happening in India. And this seems to be the special genius of our people, because as Mother said, adaptation to adversity, and learning not necessarily as, mother of necessity, but mother of adversity. Now, we have so several ideas which are coming up. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Madhav. We'll continue the discussion. There are some questions. One is, the question is, we Atashians, can we send you all our unused clothes to make shayas? I don't
Actually,
think
we have our own source.
Yeah.
We don't even ship the shaya we don't even ship the shaya outside Kerala, because I feel that would increase the carbon footprint by shipping it. So what we do, that is why we say, we share the video, everything. Try to make it on your own, or engage a few women in your neighborhood and try to create employment.
Then I think the best thing would be for us to use the videos and make them here in our spare time.
Yeah, I think there are many NGOs in Bangalore also. From, I think, Rotary had been supporting many, and we had been training the women in shelter homes in Delhi, and the wages had been paid by CSR funds, and it's been being donated to the homeless people.
We have several.
So we are trying to impact lives of people in all sections of the society.
We have several Rotarians here. Gaurav is a Rotarian, Madhav is a Rotarian, and
So this could actually be a project that can be taken up by Rotary, this year, this current
take it up with
year.
some of the Rotary clubs in Bangalore to start with, and in
Yeah,
Bombay
you
also.
can have a drive to collect the used clothes for a day, for a week or
Yes.
something. Let everybody bring their clothes
That
and
can be a project.
have a training
Yes.
session. I can even be available for online training if
Oh,
if
wonderful,
needed.
wonderful. That we would like to have. Then there's a question. I think that's been answered because by the video, do you stitch these plates together? I don't think any stitching is involved. Is there?
No, there is no stitching, no needle, no thread, nothing. It's tied together. See,
Okay.
zigzag. There'll be like from here. Then you can take it under, then upper. Like that. We are just tied it 5, 6 rows.
Okay.
That will hold it in place.
Okay.
So this is where you will have the nail. So it really goes around the nail and it will
Okay.
stay stable on the table. And once you tie the entire thing, you can remove it. You can slowly lift it from that.
How thick is it?
Almost 2 to 3 centimeters.
Okay. And comfortable and good for back pain and so on?
Yeah, my mom had been using it.
Okay.
Yeah, it is quite, squishy.
Yes.
It looks more like a marshmallow. It looks like one and feels like one also. And no dust, nothing, and
Yes.
it just doesn't fray. And if it's getting dirty, you can always soak it in soap water, and water just slips out of it. You can put it on the road, and in no time it's dry.
We have a question from one of our members, uh, Murthy, Brigadier Murthy. I'd like Murthy to come in and ask the question. Brigadier?
Yeah, sorry, I have to find
Just
him. Brigadier Murthy, I've requested you to unmute. Yes.
Can they be washed and sanitized and reused? And can they be? Yeah, I think he's
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
No,
you say we can't see you.
That these.
I'm trying to find her.
I've got the list.
There we go.
Okay.
Am I audible?
Yeah, and we can see you also.
Yeah. My question was, you say that you are giving these beds to the hospitals for use for COVID patients? And they are being washed and recycled again?
Many had been actually taking it with them. Initially, we gave it to the FLTCs, the first line treatment centers. So they have been washing it there itself and reusing it, because the order that government had given to them initially was that, burn every fabric once the patient leaves.
Yeah.
So the ecological effect would have been terrible. So that is why this became more suitable.
So in that case, why are they dumping the PPEs which they have worn? They are creating more of a nuisance. Can't they be recycled?
The used one, at least there is a layer of sheet that people would be lying on it. They won't be lying directly on this, right? They will definitely put a sheet to lie on top of this. So they are not like coming as close contact as they would wear a PPE, a mask or a kit, the ones that they wear, or a gown, right? So I think the other one has to be incinerated, I guess.
They can't be sanitized and reused, is it? Because
I doubt whether, because they are interacting with a lot of people. It's not like, a COVID patient that is isolated and staying in one place. The doctors and the nurses, they move around a lot of people. So I don't think it's advisable to actually reuse those. And they are wearing it for a long time, hours together with the sweat and everything. Here, this is just a mattress, and you put a sheet also on top of it, so it's not as, risky as the other one.
Thank you.
Okay, another question. The women working on this project can form self-help groups and get finance from microfinance companies if needed. Is there any such thought, or is it required?
Sir, I had been connecting many NGOs with CSR. Like Anand Mahindra had tweeted about it, saying that he would like to be an investor of this. He's so we had been in touch with the CSR department, and I'd put many NGOs also. They had been doing the matchmaking for them.
Yes. Okay.
And in Kerala, the Kudumbasri units and like it is so easy to get a CSR funding for this, because it is touching upon so many social issues. It's doing waste upcycling, providing employment, and providing a commodity that is so needed for anybody, right? And a country like India, where there's so many homeless people, there is no dearth of demand for this.
Yes.
So
That's true. So marketing is not a problem, at least in Kerala.
no, not at all.
But Lakshmi has to be there.
Who
There has
is
to be
it?
a Lakshmi.
Who is it? Hello. Please come in.
It was not audible, ma'am.
No,
It's
not
not
all.
clear.
Here is a comment. What I love about Lakshmi's models is that she doesn't copyright her ideas. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, I think otherwise, there's no, I think if it has to have the real impact, it has to reach as many people as it can. Actually, after a lot of thought, I took patent for the paper pen because I wanted to let people make it. Because if somebody else has taken the patent, he has a right to actually stop somebody from making it. So I thought if I have the patent, I can always let people make it. So just for that reason, I took a global patent for the seed pens.
Yes. I mean, she says not copywriting, but monetizing it for one's own benefit. That's what distinguishes a social entrepreneur from the business entrepreneur.
I like Gandhiji said, there is enough for one's need, not for the greed, right? I have enough for my need. So
That's
and
right.
there's only so much that I can do. So
Oh, here is an interesting question. In fact, I was going to ask that myself. Could you tell us something about your upcoming projects? Because Saya is already there. And
yeah, actually the one that we had just started before this current, the second wave was at Quilt India Samman, where I was working with the weavers, and there are like crores worth of clothes, the munda, sari, and everything that is lying down in the societies. So I was just wondering, the best support that they need now is to liquidate the stock. They have so much of unsold stock. So I was wondering what to do with that, because there are no weddings, no occasions, nothing. So nobody is buying a new munda or a sari, because all they see is only so much now, right? For weddings or any function, they're all in Zoom. And during those days, I read in a UN site, they were with the mothers in UN and Yemen and Syria, war-hit zones. They were asking for donations to make mommy kits for the newborn babies in the war-hit zones. So I thought, you cannot find a more delicate fabric than the Kerala fabric which is so suitable for the babies. So I thought, in one side, I know about the huge stocks that is available, and the other side, complete absolute depravity of the same raw material. So I thought, why don't I act as a bridge and connect these two? So we started through crowdfunding. We started buying the materials from the weavers. We'll cut it into size of baby clothes, frocks, and diapers, and sheets, and burp clothes, and things like that. And through crowdsourcing, many people like students, housewives, my friends, Rotary clubs in Cochin, they had all taken the pieces from us. They will stitch it together, they will embroider it, they'll paint it, they make it pretty, and they'll send it back to us. So far we have collected more than 1,000 kits for out of these materials, and we are planning to give it to Yemen and Syria, because the kind of poverty that exists in a slum in India or in a war-hit zone is that even if the mothers in Yemen or Syria, even if they have the money, they don't have a facility to go and even buy these things from. Unlike a family, a mother in the slum, if she has extra money to spare, she can always run to the shop and buy it. But that is not the case with the war-hit zones, right? So even for a matchstick, they depend on other countries. So I wanted to ship these baby kits for the newborn babies from Kerala.
one more question, and then I'll throw it open to the house or to any other person who would like.
It is called Samman. Samman is the name of the project.
Samman
We have
quilts,
started a project called. So, yeah, it is the project is called Quilt India. Was something that I started last year, because I say that the challenges are many, but we don't quit, we quilt. Quilting is all about bringing things together, bringing people together, bringing ideas, ideologies, everything together and making into one collective consciousness, one social fabric of collective consciousness. So that is what we are trying to do through Quilt India Movement 2020. So I said the generation who missed Quit India Movement, this is the next national integration project that you can be part of. So that is about quilting. So this is one of the projects under Quilt India Movement. So this is Quilt India Samman. So Samman is all about, in Malayalam, it's gift, and it's also respect, dignity, and things like that. So I thought through this Samman, we are offering a Samman, and that mom, that poor mother of that baby is getting the dignity, the respect, the honor that she deserves. So that is the project.
Yeah, and then one more question. Says you've not talked about your Chekuti dolls. So can you very
Those are always
briefly?
my favorite. Yeah, so these are the Chinese Chekuti doll. So what happened was, in after the 2018 floods, when the water receded, there was one whole village which was very famous for the most delicate handloom fabric in Kerala, near Cochin. It was under the water for almost 8 days. So the entire pile of fabric which was getting ready for the Onam, which was coming the next month, the newest fabric was all under the water, and all kind of dirt and every filth was flowing through it. So it's a cream color munda, right? So you can imagine even one dot of dirt, how it would have made it unsellable. So when the water receded and then they tried to wash it, it was so in bad condition. And the government, the handloom department came over, they all inspected it, and they washed it, bleached it, chlorinated it, but it still had all the dirt and scar and everything. So the one of the people who knew that I love to work with the so-called waste, because I always say that there is nothing called waste. Just because the human intellect doesn't have the what is that the power to find a utility for something, we shamelessly regard something as waste. So I collected those couple of those saris. I again washed it, but I could see that it's full of stains and scars. But also I could see that, since I was also very much active in the relief and rescue operations during these days, that was a true reflection of what a Malayali was during those days. Wherever you travel, you'll see stains, mud stains on the wall, and in every heart that there was a scar. It was one of the first tragedy that ever hit Kerala in this scale. So I thought, okay, why don't I just convert these clothes into a mini Malayali itself, a small Malayali. So that is how I came with this mini doll. And the Chekuti name came from, the village was called Chenamangalam, so I took the Che from that. And Kuti is a gender neutral term that we use for babies. And Chera also means dirt or mud. So this became a doll that emerged out of dirt. So it became, so we positioned in such a manner that I didn't want it to just fall in the doll category, because then it'll have to compete with Barbie dolls and other, good looking ones. So I thought, why don't I just make it into a mascot of resilience, a beacon of hope and things like that. So it was so difficult to find a clean spot in the whole sari or the munda that was clean. So I thought, instead of hiding it, why don't I highlight the deficiency of this? So I formed a tagline saying that Chekuti has stains, Chekuti has scars, yet Chekuti is each of us who survived the flood. So that created so much of an impact that people started looking for the one with the most of the dirt in it. So if it's clean, they said, no, this is not Chekuti. We want, where is the dirt in it? I don't see a scar in it. So every sari, which was otherwise sold for 1,500, a new one, we converted that sari into 360 Chekutis each, each one of this size. And we could make 360 sari dolls out of one sari, priced at rupees 25. We could collect 9,000 rupees from that same sari, which would have sold for 1,500. So from 200, so the total loss for that particular society was 21 lakhs worth of clothes. In the third month, we gave them back 36 lakhs just by selling these dolls. And it was done in 9 countries, more than 50,000 volunteers. Because this became a platform for the Malayalis to actually become a part of the rebuilding Kerala machinery. Because there were so many people who were elderly or were not financially sound, they couldn't contribute financially or physically to many of the relief and rescue operations that was happening. So when this project came up, they found out that if they made one chekuti, that is equivalent to at least putting one stone in that Kerala building process. So this gave such an impetus to the whole thing of the revival story of Kerala. And people like in the age group of 90 to 95, we could see the grandma sitting and making vegetable prints using the lady's finger, and they were dressing up this the frock of that the fabric of chekuti, and they were drawing the faces and adding all those stuff. So even kids. So so if you don't have a chekuti, you are not a Malayali. That is a kind of spirit it has. So it has truly become a beacon of a mascot of resilience. So even in a movie that was released recently called The Great Indian Kitchen, the heroine, I guess, she's so frustrated with all the patriarchal system in the family. She walks out of the family finally, and in one of the shots, like she becomes successful and she gets into the car, and the camera focuses on this chekuti hanging on her car. So that shows, the resilience and the thing that she has come out of it. She has completely, researched out of all this. So this has become such an symbolic image now.
Thank you very much. We are now, we've got just about another 10 minutes left. I would like to call on my friend Tulsi Tavari. Tulsi, are you in? And my batch of students from IIT Bhilai who are here, who had formed an Entrepreneurs Action Club where they're looking at several projects, both business and social. So they've been very excited. They were very excited about this program. They are here. I'd like some of them to come in. Yes, Tulsi, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Raja. Lakshmi, it's a great pleasure actually knowing you for your entrepreneurial. The word that you said you didn't plan, it was planted on you actually because of what you did. It's really remarkable. I have one question for the sake of my young friends here and who are at IIT Bhilai, and they have created one club called Entrepreneurship Action Club. And the actually question is what is the trigger in you that you relate personally, that entrepreneurial trigger in you personally, where it comes from? And when you look at your circle, no, your friend circle growing up in the school and college time, how do you see the new India, the youth, getting imbibed by this trigger? So can you share some thoughts on that entrepreneurial trigger that our club can utilize to do it for more and more young people? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think it has a lot to do with my upbringing because my father, he was a commissioner of rubber board. He always used to say that, you are born into a family where you don't have to worry about what you're going to eat tomorrow. You have a roof on your head. So, and that comes with a huge responsibility. So look out for avenues where you can make use of your life. So that was something that from day one I'd been hearing in my family. And he had been a great role model. I never had to look outside for anybody to kind of, imbibe all this spirits. So he's not with us anymore. I lost him 25 years back. So that makes it even more, I have to really do something to really keep up to the promises that I'd made to him. And I think I feel that the kind of education that I got, I was educated. Just to say that I'm a designer, the amount of effort that has gone into me, right from my mom waking up at 6 o'clock to make the lunch pack for me, the tiffin pack, and a dad working day and night to provide the fees for me, the bus driver who is taking me to the college or the school, the teachers who are spending the time so that he can impart some knowledge to me. So there's a lot of investment that has gone into me to make what I am now. So I think for every investment there has to be a return of investment. Otherwise it's going to be such a failure for all of them. So that constantly drives me to kind of intervene or come up with some solution to the solution the problems in the society. So I was never entrepreneurial, actually. I was just trying to bring in some solutions, and I think the crisis makes the unthinkable inevitable, right? So it just I think I was not selling the product anytime. I was just providing a solution to some of the problems. So people never buy the product. They always think, okay, does this solve a problem of mine, then I'm going to buy it. So by I think by God's intervention and divine intervention, I was fortunate to just spot that problem and find a solution for that. So I think that is how it really resonated with a lot of people. For example, if you look at the pen, everybody would love to to have a greener living, but they didn't know how. So when I provided this pen, through that they were able to provide a proper waste management for the used paper. They could get a tree out of that paper, and they could discard the plastic pen, because this was equally good, functional wise. So through this, they were also becoming part of many social initiatives through just one product. Again, it's the same with Shaya. It was, and indirectly they were providing employment to women, whoever was buying this. It was addressing waste management. And same with Ammumatiri, because people are not able to spend time, though they would love to go and spend some time with the people in the old age home, or even with their grandmothers. They were not, sometimes the pressures were not letting them do that. So buying a packet of Ammumatiri let them achieve all that. So I think I am consider myself as a deep generalist. I try to volunteer wherever I can in any field. It will be totally disconnected with, unrelated to what I am. I go to Ramayana, Purana, all those things. I volunteer in temples, churches, anywhere, and all those has brought in a different perspective and an awareness to the problems that we have in several sections of the society. So it all goes into the file, and whenever there is a problem, I can just open up that files, and the dots just gets connected, in no time. So I think that is what has really helped me. And to the youngsters, I think, don't waste any time, any chance where you can volunteer, because that's the best way to find your strength and weaknesses at somebody's expense. Somebody's providing you the platform and everything. You just have to invest your time in that. And when you work in a team, okay, certain things which we thought you are good at, you will realize, no, you are much better in something else. So that learning process normally will take like 5 or 6 or 10 years to learn. If you're working somewhere, or if you're studying somewhere, and this just comes out automatically, it happens so quickly. And the kind of connections that you make with people, you will be sipping the coffee next to a judge or a doctor, with whom you could never be able to kind of have access to otherwise. So if you're spending time, the most important resources of any human being, if you are ready to impart time with anybody, for anybody, the kind of respect that you get also is enormous. So I think it is volunteering that has literally helped me in spreading my networking to gain knowledge. And every year at Fort Cochin, in Cochin, after the new year, there is a huge cleaning action that happens. So all the Rotarians, all the volunteers, doctors, everybody comes, and they will all pick this thing, and we just have to put it in the pack and keep it somewhere. Somebody will pick it up. But I always focus in the area where all the waste is ultimately ends up in, because that is where the segregation happens, and that is where I really gets to know what are the kind of waste that is being accumulated, that is generated. When I leave from that place, I'll get ideas for 10 different enterprises which I can start the very next day, because these are the problems that has accumulated in one space. And if I can provide solutions for all these, I can make $1 billion company the next day itself. So for many entrepreneurs who say that, youngsters who say, I don't know what to do, I don't have an idea, just go and be there, spread out wherever you can, and you will definitely come up with ideas. So that's how I always feel, because every gap, I think, is an opportunity. So just grab it.
This is really design thinking in action. And we would like to have another session on that. And creative problem solving, how to ideation, how to bring out new ideas and so on. practical session rather than a theoretical one.
Design thinking is what, yeah, really, I think it's an essential corrective force, sort of,
Yeah, that's right. So, for your information, Tulsi is also a missionary in the sense that he's been advocating for a long time decentralized economic activity, which does not necessarily involve high technology, use of high technology, and which gives a large amount of employment to people. And this is one of the finest examples that we can really think of about that. Now, we are short of time. We will have to now sum up. Uh, I think the message you've given us a number of messages by your example, the Chekuti dolls, the Staya mattresses, and the pens and the others, that innovation need not be high investment ones. They can be very simple. In fact, it's more difficult to be simple than to be difficult or complicated. That a decentralized economic structure can be the backbone of this kind of entrepreneurial activity. That we have to, as Gaurang said, we have to think in terms of appropriate technology appropriate to the local needs. And then it must be related to the current social challenges, which you have always found, and you've always responded to those challenges and local needs. And of course, waste management, which you've been stressing on at every stage, that there is no such thing as waste, and that has to be managed. And job creation and labor intensive activity. Now, beyond all this, all these are fine. Beyond all this, the central message that we get from what you have said is, as Madhav said, the heritage of the cultural heritage, the of genius that is in us, in our DNA of adaptation and innovation that runs in us, and the need which we see very much here for democratization of innovation. There's a whole book that I was reading on democratization of innovation, democratization of entrepreneurship, which is the need of the day for us, and the not ideology based redistributive economics, but the kind of one that you've been doing in terms of practical realities. I don't want to add on to what has already been said by others. We are short of time. May I request uh, Shraddha? Shraddha is one of our youngest members. She's not a senior citizen, but she's one of our youngest members. Shraddha Maralkar. Shraddha, can you come in and propose a vote of thanks?
Yes, Mr. Raja. Thank you.
Let's see you. We want to see you. Yeah, come in.
Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So thank you, Mr. Raja, and thanks a lot, Lakshmi, for being there with us, among us today. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose vote of thanks. On behalf of entire Athashri family and friends, I would like to extend a very hearty vote of thanks to Lakshmi for gracing her journey with us today. I was browsing on the internet about social entrepreneurship because I'm very much excited. My husband is designer like you. So I was very much excited to see what exactly social entrepreneurship means. And I came across very interesting definition by David Jurgen. He's a Harvard professor. And he has described social entrepreneurship as new engines of reforms. And when I listened to you today, I really got the meaning of the definition by Mr. David. As Mr. Mohan mentioned earlier, we really need such engines like Lakshmi for Greater India and for young generations. You are idols. You are idol for us. Thank you, Lakshmi. Yeah, a few things I would like to mention here from this entire session, that she had shown us and proved that small things really matters. Small ideas really make huge difference, like seed pens. Her Amma Mathari project changed senior people lives. Then she's following ideology of her grandma, which is like creative upcycling, which is a very great idea nowadays. She's conducting it through the project like Shaya. Also, you are training all over the world for this project Shaya. You're sharing your knowledge. You are being a teacher also, not just an entrepreneur. Lakshmi, we are very, very inspired by your great work, your journey so far. Really, really big thank you for all of us. Thanks to all Atishians for joining this session, and I'm really hoping to see Lakshmi and Atishi face to face one day very soon, so that we can have more interactive session. And thank you organizers for organizing this great session. We got this wonderful experience with Lakshmi. Thank you all. Stay safe, stay happy, take care. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to thank Dr. Sarla Gopalan, Ms. Gaurang Mehta, and Madhu Mohan for coming in and making our discussions lively and very instructive. Thank you very much. Lakshmi, we hope to see you here in Athasri.
Sorry for interrupting. Sorry for interrupting. I think we lost Lakshmi. I saw her connection was unstable, and now she has disappeared.
Okay. Anyway, the meeting is over now. So shall I declare the meeting over?
Yeah.
That's all for the day after the vote of thanks. Thank you very much, all of you. Many thanks indeed. Many thanks.